Hi, I'm Bethany Wilson with Ruff Beginnings Rehab. And we're going to go over the go to your bed command or place command. Now I have another video where I show how to do this with treats as well as how to teach stay, but there are lots of instances where you don't want to introduce treats right from the very beginning. I mean, you can add it in later to create a little bit more drive, but with dogs with territorial issues, aggressive issues, or the dogs that you're going to see have already been treat trained. A couple of them have, and it just kind of made them out of their mind, and they're not able to focus or stay in the same spot for long. Now, there are a lot of uses to the place command. When people come in the door, having your dogs lay in one spot. When you're working, if you got toddlers running around and you don't want the dogs chasing them, you can have them on a place command. It creates really nice structure, and it can really give the whole feel of your home a really nice, calm, balanced, zen place to be, which I know is something that everyone strives for, which is really hard nowadays with all the get up and go, so it can be hard to communicate this with your dog. So I'm going to have a few dogs and show you how to have them lay on their mat. This is Scarlet. She's mouthy, jumpy, rams into you. She knows sitting down, but she cannot stay in the one place for more than a second. So what you're going to start to see is she just cannot stay still. So she keeps quickly offering me sits and downs, and I'm not even asking for them. She's just offering them to me because she's been rewarded with a treat for it in the past, but she gets frustrated because, heaven forbid, more than a second go by and she have to stay in the same position. So she has no impulse control, which she can't walk on a leash well. I mean, it's a variety of problems. So see how I'm getting the strong eye contact? I mean, she's just waiting for her reward for the next command, and I do that type of training, that drive training, but in this case, she already has plenty of drive. So what I'm trying to do is teach her how to stay in the same spot and be calm and just completely zen out and just sleep and watch the world go by while being able to be a calm dog. And again, I'm not giving her any commands here. She's just offering all this stuff to me. So what I'm kind of doing here is wearing her down and settling her down by doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not using any vocals. Everything is leash pressure related, okay? So the first thing we do is I give her pressure to go towards the mat, and as soon as all four paws are on the blanket, she always tries to jet forward. So I pull her back. See, I'm pulling back right there. See, I'm using pressure. I'm not correcting. I'm just using pressure. Everything is pressure and release. So now see, the leash is loose because she's not pulling. Now I reset her. You can tell she's all over the place, but that's going to quickly change. You'll see. So we do this for probably a good 10 minutes. See how she's already getting it? She's not jumping off the mat anymore. So it's now that she starts to settle down, we stop right in front of the mat and then say place. I use pressure, otherwise she'd move forward. Loose leash once she stops moving. I'm not giving into all this nudging and kisses that she's doing. And then I say, okay, and we walk off. That's her release word. That's what lets her know she can get off the mat. So pressure to get on the mat and pressure to stop her from going over the mat. We wait for a second, and then okay, and off. Now this is also kind of the beginning of stay. Whenever I ask my dogs to sit, lay down, or go to their mat, go to their bed, I do not give them a stay command. They just know that if I've given them a command, they have to stay there until I say otherwise. You're more than welcome to incorporate the stay later. Once your dog is really consistent, you can start adding the word. That's perfectly fine. But in the beginning, you need to do it this way. So they do it automatically, and it just becomes like a default setting for them, which makes it much easier to control them in high-stress situations outside or inside. So we wait until we're right in front, and then I say place, loose leash, and then okay, and walk off. Now, it didn't take very long for her to stop offering me all these behaviors for her treat reward and focusing on me like crazy instead of being able to just relax. Look how much more relaxed her face looks now than it did in the beginning. It makes a big difference. Now, after about 20 minutes of work, she was doing so well, and I wanted to show this clip because I rushed her a little bit, and because of that, you know, she was popping up. You'll see here in a minute. See, I kind of start to step back too quickly, and because of it, she's going to pop up, and I just come right back in right away, and I'm using spatial pressure to reset her just because I don't have a hold of the leash. We had been working on downs, so I actually gave her the command down because she had popped up. Now this is really important. This is the distance part, and this is a huge component of this. You've got distance, you've got distractions that you have to build in, and then you've got, you know, time or duration spent laying on the mat that you want to build up. Start out really small, just a couple minutes, and build up to a couple of hours. Where they're just snoozing on their mats. It's so important. Okay, so a dog that I've already worked with before, earlier in the day. Place, loose leash, and okay. Now we wait. Place. Loose leash once she sits, and then okay. Now I'm going to start marking her good behaviors, so it would look like place, yes. So she'll start to associate either the word yes, or you can mark it with a good, with doing something good and with the loose leash. So she'll start to associate the two. Now this dog has the same problems that Scarlett has, except a little more advanced in the sense that she already had food issues, and then they met with a trainer that used a lot of treat training to try to get her out of it, and it ended up making her more anxious around food and nippy and bitey. So we had to find a way to work without food and to settle her down. Now we've been working on sit and down earlier in the day, so I'm starting to incorporate that as well as distance and distraction, which is just me moving around. Now she went ahead and laid down there on her own, and that's perfectly fine. That's what I want her doing. I want her to use her own brain and be so settled that she just lays down on her own. Now this is really important. They need to learn that just because you pick up the leash does not mean they pop up and they bolt, okay? So I'm kind of desensitizing that by actually practicing picking up the leash. And if she was to pop up before I said okay, then I would reset her and work again. This is just a short clip of how I know she isn't getting the word place, because I'm saying place with the pressure and she's still not completely getting it. And there's a reason why, and I just wanted to point it out here and show you. I didn't step forward. Dogs are great at body movement. So I say place with pressure, and then she goes once I move my body. So that's something that you have to filter out. But in the beginning, you definitely want to take that step to help the dog understand to step onto the mat. It gives them confidence. I just wanted to show this dog real quick because I wanted to show a dog that was a little bit more fussy about the leash pressure that sometimes you just have to work through. See, I pull forward for him to go. And see, he's just all over the place. It makes him uncomfortable. He's not sure what to do. So I stay really calm, really matter of fact, really gentle, and take my time. And he gets it very quickly. You just have to get through that initial, fussiness sometimes. With higher energy dogs or dogs that are under a lot of stress and anxiety, you can sometimes get that behavior. So my goal here is for them to step onto the mat and wait. So pressure, place, and me to be able to stand there with a loose leash for a second before releasing them. And then a second turns into 30 seconds, and then a minute, and then 5 minutes, and then I'll drop back down to just a few seconds and really, really mix it up. Because all this bounciness I want to go away, because that's why they jump on guests and they act nuts when they see squirrels and things like that. The point of this is just to really settle them down and let them be able to be calm as they watch the world go by. That's stopping in front of the mat. Place. Yes, good. Okay. Okay, last but not least, This has got more of a final stage. This is doing something on a bed or on a mat in a really busy area like this. So I am going back to pressure, even though he knows what it means. It's difficult for him in this area. So I kind of pulled back, had him sit, use pressure, have him down. And I just wait, let him observe, and then I'm trying to give distance here. This is what my goal is, to have him stay in the same spot, even though I'm moving on, and then I give him the okay. So pressure, place, and now I'm trying to be able to move right on past him as I'm walking, and him stay on the mat. This is a huge step right here. Do not skip this. And I say, okay. Because he already knows go to his mat. But I'm trying to continue walking past him so he really solidifies in such a busy area with other animals and people that he has to stay on his place. It's easy to do that in the house, and when you get outside it can be really difficult. But it's a really great tool. So I'm kind of just breaking down me walking ahead. It's also really different when you're facing a dog and backing up versus you continuing to walk forward, because that's when they want to follow you. So there, I was ready to correct him, to back off. And I'm just using the pressure. And then, okay. So go to your mat. And there we go. So I only had to give him just a light little pop correction there. And once your dog understands what you want, you don't want to do pressure anymore. You want to just give corrections. So let's go to your mat. I gave a little pop. I'm ready. And I didn't need to correct him there, so that was great. So then the next step here would be to do this off leash, to just drop the leash and continue walking once he's got it. I don't want to do that, especially in a public place, until he's really got it. So see, I'm just practicing the movement, and he's much more comfortable about staying there. And I'm just marking it with yes or good. And this is his best one here. Really fluid. He didn't even think about stepping off the mat. So I say good, and then release him. So from here, when he did 10 more just like that with no correction, we'd go to off leash. So you don't have to do this outside unless you really just want to, because it is great to travel with these mats to go to coffee shops and things. But I brought it out here just to really add some distractions, and because there's more room to spread out. You can do this in the house with 2 or 3 mats, do it in different rooms, go to different rooms, really make it fun for your dog. Now, because they're so spaced out, I don't say go to your mat right away. I start out with have you come, and then when she gets close to her mat, then I say go to your mat. And I'm not saying stay. She has learned by default to just go to the mat, lay down, and stay. So I'm not having to say down, and I'm not having to say stay. And that just comes with practice, which, as you can see, she's been patterned to do this behavior. It makes this ideal for territorial or nervous dogs, and you can add counter conditioning with treats later. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed go to your mat training. You can use go to your mat, place, go to your bed, whatever you like, but everything is the same. As far as the technique, you want to start with pressure, then once they know what they're doing, you can move on to corrections. And you got to understand that you want distance, you want distractions, build up slowly, and you want time, so duration. You want distance, distractions, and duration. Every time I'm doing these videos, I've got a dog behind me in place and one right here in place, okay? It makes things so much smoother when I'm working, when I'm cooking, when I'm on the phone, when people come over. I can't even, the list is very long for how wonderful this command is for helping your dog learn how to just settle down. It's also made going to restaurants with my dogs much easier and blissful, where everyone makes a big deal about how amazing, and well-behaved your dogs are. And it's really nice. It's just like having someone say, wow, your kids are so great, because for many of us, our dogs are our kids. Whether you have kids or not, the dogs are the kids as well. So it's really nice. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe and check out our Facebook, Ruff Beginnings Rehab. It's dog training and rescue, and I hope to see you there.